Good Tuesday morning, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for November the 7th. Today we are reading together in Second Chronicles chapter 17. We are moving on from the telling of Asa's story as king over Israel, what the chronicler wanted us to know about that. But now we are looking at his son Jehoshaphat and everything that, or not everything, but many of the things that happened during his reign that are of importance to the chronicler that he wants for us, or really for the original audience, post-exilic Israel to know, and then for us to know as well. So let's read here in Second Chronicles chapter 17, verse number 1. Second Chronicles 17, verse number 1. His son Jehoshaphat became king in his place, meaning Asa's son. Jehoshaphat became king in his place and strengthened himself against Israel. He stationed troops in every fortified city of Judah and set garrisons in the land of Judah and in the cities of Ephraim that his father Asa had captured. Now Yahweh was with Jehoshaphat because he walked in the former ways of his ancestor David. He did not seek the Baals, but sought the God of his father and walked by his commands, not according to the practices of Israel. So Yahweh established the kingdom in his hand. Then all Judah brought him tributes, and he had riches and honor in abundance. He took great pride in Yahweh's ways. And he again removed the high places and the Asherah poles from Judah. In the third year of his reign, Jehoshaphat sent his officials, Ben-Hail, Obadiah, Zechariah, Nethanel, and Micaiah, to teach in the cities of Judah. The Levites with them were Shemaiah, Nethaniah, Zebediah, Asahel, Shimi Ramoth, Jehonathan, Adonijah, Tobijah, and Tob Adonijah, the priest. Elishama and Jehoram were with these Levites. They taught throughout Judah, having the book of Yahweh's instruction with them. They went through the towns of Judah and taught the people. The terror of Yahweh was on all the kingdoms of the lands that surrounded Judah, so they didn't fight against Jehoshaphat. Some of the Philistines also brought gifts in silver as tribute to Jehoshaphat, and the Arabs brought him flocks, 7,700 rams and 7,700 male goats. Jehoshaphat grew stronger and stronger. He built fortresses and storage cities in Judah and carried out great works in the towns of Judah. He had fighting men, valiant warriors in Jerusalem. These are their numbers according to their ancestral families. For Judah, the commanders of thousands. Adnah, the commander, had 300,000 valiant warriors with him. Next to him, Jehohanan, the commander, had 280,000 with him. Next to him, Amasiah, son of Zikri, the volunteer of Yahweh, and 200,000 valiant warriors with him. From Benjamin, Eliada, a valiant warrior, and 200,000 with him, armed with bow and shield. Next to him, Jehozabad, and 180,000 with him, equipped for war. These were the ones who served the king, besides those he stationed in the fortified cities throughout all Judah. And that is Second Chronicles chapter 17. Again, introduced to Jehoshaphat, the son of Asa, and the next king of Judah. And again, we notice here the focus on Judah. We're not doing like we did in Kings, in the Kings writings, where we bounce back and forth between Judah and Israel, talk about Judah's kings and then Israel's kings and so on and so forth. No, the focus truly is on Judah, because this is setting up the blueprint for success and then also giving warnings of what they ought not do. So thinking about this text, we see first in verses 1 and 2 just the military success that Jehoshaphat was having. He strengthened himself specifically against Israel, because again, unfortunately, there were some civil battles that were going on here between the people fighting against one another. And so what Jehoshaphat does is he stations troops in the fortified cities and in the garrisons throughout the land, and in some of those cities of Ephraim that his father had captured from Israel. And then in verses 3 through 6, we see the religious efforts that Jehoshaphat was making, the fact that he walked in the former ways of his father David, which obviously is a good thing. David's a man after God's own heart, and for Jehoshaphat to emulate his walk, that's certainly a good thing. To contrast that, he did not seek the Baals. Instead, he sought the God of his father and walked by Yahweh's commands, again, not according to the practices of Israel. So we have this contrast here between Jehoshaphat and his religious efforts and then the efforts of Israel, which, again, if we remember going back to the kings, every time we read about their king, he walked in the, or not every time, but far too often, he walked in the ways of Jeroboam with his paganistic worship of Yahweh, with the golden calves and all these other things. That's just not who Jehoshaphat was. No, instead, he made sure that he sought Yahweh, and because he sought Yahweh, Yahweh established the kingdom in his hand, and he grew in many tremendous ways. Judah, the people brought him tributes. He had riches and honor in abundance, so his mind rejoiced in Yahweh's ways. And again, he removed the high places and Asherah poles from Judah. So we just have this really good cause and effect, because he sought Yahweh, because he turned away from paganistic worship, because he turned away from idolatrous worship. The effect is that Yahweh blessed him tremendously, that Yahweh gave him riches and honor in abundance. And then that resulted in peace of mind, because Jehoshaphat knew he was the type of man that God was desiring for his king to be like. So one of the other things that he did is he made sure that the people were growing in their spiritual knowledge as well. Verses 7, 8, 9 talk about that there were some royal officials as well as some priests and Levites who went throughout the land of Judah, and they took the book of the instruction of Yahweh. They took the book of Yahweh's instruction, and they basically did what had previously been missing in the land. We go back to chapter 15 and verse number 3. We remember that it stated that Azariah said to Asa, "For many years Israel has been without the true God, without a teaching priest, and without instruction." But that's changing now. Why? Because Jehoshaphat is searching out for Yahweh. And Yahweh has told him through Azariah that if you look for me, you're going to find me. So because he is desiring to serve Yahweh, one of the ways he's going to help accomplish that is by sending out Yahweh's instruction into all the land, so all the people can know what they need to know in their relationship and the expectation that God had for them in their relationship with him. So again, because this positive effort on his part, the terror of Yahweh was on all the kings of the land that surrounded Judah. So there was peace. There was peace within the land. Even some of the Philistines and the Arabs, the text tells us, brought him tribute of various kinds. So there was peace and there was wealth. Why was there peace and wealth? Because Jehoshaphat sought after Yahweh. That was exemplified and manifested in the fact that he, again, did not seek the Baals, that he tore down the high places and broke the Asherah poles, and he sent the instruction of Yahweh throughout the land of Judah to the people. So with all these good things that Jehoshaphat is doing, again, he is experiencing blessings from that. He is experiencing the covenant blessings. Now, the text finishes up in 18 through 19, in verses 12 through 19, by basically just setting up the battles that Jehoshaphat is going to be fighting in chapters 18 and 19, 18 and 20. He grew stronger and stronger, again, military-wise as well. He built many fortresses and storage cities. He had many fighting men, many valiant men in Jerusalem. And then he also had all these leaders and their warriors after them. He had Adnah, Jehohanan. He had Amasiah, Eliada, Jehoshaphat, and specifically of Amasiah, he is described as the volunteer of Yahweh. Now, of course, that just speaks to my heart. Although we think about this text, man, I wish we had more. I wish we knew more about what exactly this entailed. What did he do that earned him the description of the volunteer of Yahweh? But what this means is that he offered himself freely to Yahweh. He offered himself freely to Yahweh. Again, how? I don't really know. But what a great description that would be to have for us, to know that to be described as the volunteer of Yahweh, that we are somebody that has offered ourselves so freely to Yahweh that we would earn this description, being a volunteer of Yahweh. I certainly want that to be true of myself, and I hope that you want that to be true of yourself. And think about just what we've seen within this text that could help that to be the case. Again, we have a desire to walk with Yahweh, that we do not seek other things besides Yahweh, that we rejoice in Yahweh's ways, that we remove sin and barriers between us and Yahweh from our lives, that we seek to know Yahweh and his will. If these are the things that we pursue, then I think we said that we are freely giving ourselves and offering ourselves to Yahweh. And certainly the efforts that are put forth within this chapter led to success, and they can certainly lead to success in our lives as well. May the example of Jehoshaphat and the people here of 2 Chronicles 17 be a good example for us to emulate as well. If you have any questions or comments about this text, please feel free to leave that in the comment section below. And I appreciate you taking some time to reading along with me on this Tuesday. Hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow, reading together from 2 Chronicles chapter 18. Hope to see you then. Take care, and God bless.